Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my dream world. So, as you all probably know, Ninjago Dragons Rising Season 2 Part 1 is out! Quite a mouthful, but it's alright. It came out on April 4th. So, of course, being that I no longer have classes on Thursdays, I immediately went to binge it right as it was released. Suffice to say, your girl needed some sleep, so I ended up watching it the next morning instead of right at midnight. But I still wanted to give it an initial reaction review and commentary type video since there is a lot to talk about. I'm going to format this video similarly to my nostalgia reviews, which mean covering each episode, overall thoughts, and since we eventually have a part 2, we'll go over theories, anticipation, and what to look forward to as well. But because I have so much to talk about, I'm going to split this video into 3 parts, so it'll be kind of like the beginning 4 episodes, the middle of the season, and then the finale and the overall opinion-character discussion about the season. Before I go into it, I should briefly mention that I did not rewatch season 1 as of recently since my schedule has been so incredibly packed, so I may have forgotten or missed something since I last watched it, probably like during winter break, so bear with me. I am also aware that I didn't cover season 1, or at least not on my channel as of yet, so if you need some clarification regarding my opinions or thoughts when referring to season 1 or past seasons, please let me know in the comments. I did record my raw reactions to this season because I wanted to watch it without taking notes and take it in the moment and just watch this season, but I did end up recording myself so that I could look back at my raw reactions and original opinions. I did not, however, screen record the show because I don't want to get a copyright strike, but I will insert my raw reactions from time to time throughout this video series and discussion. If you didn't guess, this video contains spoilers, so unless you want to get spoiled, please watch the season before you continue with this video because this is your only warning. Without further ado, I will hop right into the video. So right off the bat, we get the opening scene of Roz and Jordana immediately going off of their team up at the end of season 1 in the finale. Roz kind of is roasting Jordana throughout this entire thing, which I honestly appreciate. To be perfectly frank, and this may be an unpopular opinion, but honestly, I don't care. This is going to be like my raw opinions, real reactions. They may change, because as y'all know, if you've seen my videos, I am pretty indecisive, but I didn't really care for any of the new villains in season 1 of Dragons Rising. It's not that I hated them or anything, but I just feel like other Ninjago villains have been more compelling, more engaging, more unique. And as of this season, I do stand by that opinion. However, I also enjoy the dynamic between Roz and Jordana, and we eventually get the scene of them entering the Wolf Temple that was released pre-season and about the whole intro, the Blood Moon. So we've heard about this if you've seen all the preview promo and stuff. Also, the animations and visuals throughout this scene and the season in general, of course, are absolutely gorgeous. Y'all can complain all you want about the new designs, but the animation has significantly improved, especially in Dragons Rising. Like, if you've seen the first season, it's stunningly gorgeous visually, in my opinion. We then turn to the heroes who are being filmed by a bunch of influencers. We see the mechanic, who gets handled pretty easily, and we also see Ryu is bigger now, which means that some time has passed. It seems like maybe about a year or so. We also get a little cameo from Fujita, which was super, super funny. I loved those little, like, pop-up cameos, reminding us, like, yes, this is still Ninjago. Yes, it's a new spin-off, but we're still in this world. And while a lot of the influencer moments in this scene are, like, kind of annoying, we also get some questions that are very prevalent, such as, where is my girl Pixel? Where is she? I want to know. But, I know a lot of people find the social media scene dumb, like I mentioned, but personally I kind of liked it because it showed us how Eren and Sora, who are supposed to be teens, in this world of technology and how they react differently, which is really interesting and gives them more, like, minor character development, because Eren is getting sucked into it while Sora is like, oh my gosh, Eren, don't watch that, like, it's a bunch of garbage. So we get different perspectives there, and we also need to remember this: Yes, Eren and Sora are gonna make dumb decisions because they're teenagers, and we saw the OG ninja do similar things to Sensei Wu. So let's just keep that in mind. It's just part of them being kids. Sora is also continuing to be my favorite of the three new ninja kids as of yet. As for Lloyd, we kind of see that he's not in the best mental state. Not a new story, but this is a little bit different. Like, we've seen him battle daddy issues, issues with girls like Harumi, and just overall depression and PTSD, but this is a little bit different because he's not sleeping well. And honestly, when he says that he quote unquote slept like a baby, I actually believe him because a lot of babies wake up and cry a lot throughout the night when they're really little. So it's not an entirely inaccurate assessment. But the main reason why he's not sleeping well is because he's getting these nightmare like visions, and it's starting to become frequent and traumatizing enough to freak him out during the day. I love, love, love the little chat that he has with Eren, especially since I've taken psych classes that cover sleep problems, and I love the hint that a spirit form of Master Wu is still with them and watching over them throughout this entire thing, because as Eren was talking, I was like, aw, is he like a mini version of Master Wu now? And sure enough, we see that little like silhouette of Master Wu, and that's a motif that occurs multiple times throughout the season, which I love. Eventually, Sora kind of figures out that since a bunch of shops and vendors, let's say, are beginning to have their places broken into, but also having nothing stolen, she's kind of like, okay, we gotta go investigate that because no alarms are being tripped. There are no obvious like tracks that are left behind. I immediately knew, given that it's confirmed that he's the new Master of Smoke, that Cinder, one of our new villains, was the culprit. As a huge season 4 fan, I haven't covered this on my channel yet, but it's going to be the next Ninjago season that I nostalgia trip cover. I'm a huge fan, one of my favorite seasons, and I would love season 4. I've always loved all of the Elemental Masters. So I was extremely curious to see what Cinder's connection is to Ash, who we saw in season 4. There have been theories. Nothing has completely been confirmed or debunked yet, though I will say I think it's pretty safe to debunk the theory that Ash and Cinder are the same person, because Cinder just has like a different voice. Like, Ash doesn't talk, but he does have, like, he was voiced by Brent Miller, and you know, he has those laughs and stuff. Like, Cinder holds himself differently than Ash does, and that makes me kind of think like, okay, yeah, they're not the same person. But regardless, Sora and Eren end up fighting him and a few of the wolf warriors, and we see in this scene that Cinder completely plows through Eren, and he handles both of them pretty easily. And even when Lloyd kind of jumps in to help, he gets stunned by the PTSD vision dreams that he's been having, so he freezes up, and Cinder escapes with the mallet that he's trying to collect. As a result, it's revealed that this is needed for the blood moon ritual that has been teased both in the show and in the promos. In my opinion, this was a very, very strong start to the season. Everything is set up very well. I think there's the right amount of engaging like fights and just overall fun, plus the building of the new plot and reintroducing the status of Sora and Eren's place on the team. We also kind of get the first bit of setup for Eren's arc this season, which is his doubt, because he's not improving quickly, or at least he's not improving as quickly as he wants to, and he also is struggling with the fact that he does not have an elemental power, even though he can do spinjitzu. Now, I did say that I recorded my live reactions to this part of the season, and even though I'm not going to be showing any long clips from the show, I figured I'd insert them here, so I'll do that at the end of each episode. Here are some of my raw reactions from episode 1. Oh, Ryu's big now! He was so cute as a baby. Baby Ryu just like made my life. Not Fujidove. Stop. Stop. Oh my gosh. Reincarnate. Oh. Is that Master Wu? I think it was. I think that was Master Wu. Cinder? Cinder. Yep. I said the smoke. I hope we figure out his connection to Ash, if there is one, because I'm curious to see which direction they took this. Oh, sweetie. What's the point of being friends if I can't get anything out of you? Duh. Oh, Ryu's still so cute, even though he's like not as cute because he's not a baby anymore, but he's still cute. Oh my gosh. Oh, are we gonna get like an Aaron sad because he doesn't have powers arc kind of thing? Oh dear. Oh, yep, I was right. It is Cinder. I mean, pretty obvious, but... Oh, yeah, yep. Good night. I don't like the animation of this new smoke, not gonna lie. Not a huge fan. It looks really, like, crusty. But he's whooping them. Yep. Ooh, yeah, like I said, decked. Oh, yes, Sora. Oh, yeah, you're no match for Cinder. That's awkward for you. They were handling those masked guys, though, so they're getting better. Oh, yeah, eat. Ryu's eating. Ooh. Okay, Cinder, don't hurt Ryu, because if you do, I'm gonna have to hate you. I don't know how I feel about Cinder's voice. Some of the, like, villains have really, like, cool villainy voices. There's nothing really unique about his as of yet, so I'm interested to see how he develops. So in episode 2, we immediately start in the Cloud Kingdom, which for some reason I kept mistaking for Shintaro. Like, I kept going, ooh, Shintaro. Oh, no, Cloud Kingdom. I don't know why. My brain just, I don't know. But regardless, this brings up the topic of Euphrasia. I'm going to talk a little bit about her during the character discussion at the end of this 3-part series, but I think I summed up my thoughts pretty well while I was reacting to the episode, so I'm just going to insert that right here. Ooh, okay. I don't care about the Cloud Kingdom all that much, but we've got Euphrasia. As a Moro fan, like, big Moro fan, favorite villain 100% from my favorite season. I don't care what y'all say, I love Moro. I'm interested to see where they take Euphrasia. I'm not a Euphrasia hater. Ugh. Sorry, they annoy me, but Euphrasia, I'm interested to see what they do with her character. I love Moro. I don't think she's replacing Moro because I think Moro's arc ended on a very, very satisfying note, and I don't want his character to be brought back and ruined like somebody, Harumi. But yeah, I'm excited. So the Wolf Clan ends up arriving, and of course the Cloud Kingdom is like, okay, get Euphrasia. So after they call on her, we eventually see Percival, the kid from, not Shintaro. I'm a mess. From Imperium, seeing Euphrasia just falling out of the sky and crash landing, and clearly she's not okay. So this implies the Cloud Kingdom has been completely overtaken, and there's more on this soon. Back at the monastery, Lloyd is not doing so great emotionally, and so Aaron and Sora kind of cover the situation with him about the mallet being stolen by Cinder. Kai immediately is like, well, where there's a master of smoke, there's a master of fire. Kai fans, if you don't want to get triggered, skip ahead by about 10 to 15 seconds, because I don't need y'all flooding my comments with hate. My first reaction to him saying that was, Kai, sweetie, I don't want you to get too cocky, because if you guys really rewatch his fight with Ash, I have to be honest, he was not winning. At best, I literally just rewatched this fight so that I could, check my opinion, but at best, it was kind of a tie until Ash teleported and didn't land fast enough, which allowed Kai to kind of just lunge forward and get the Jade Blade. So with him being all smug about that situation and going like, oh yeah, don't worry, I can handle him, I was like, oh, okay, calm down a little bit, buddy. However, given what we've been told about this season, and even if you watch the intro, it kind of like hints at it, it seems like Kai was going to be the one going toe-to-toe with Cinder in the end, which really makes sense in the moment because, smoke and fire. So, Kai fans, this one is for you, despite whatever I said before. And also, I love Kai. I'm not hating on him, especially in this season, because he is awesome. So, with that out of the way, the ninja decide to find out more about the mallet, and eventually they find the vendor that was smuggling around the mallet as well as other artifacts, and she ends up telling them about the blood moon, the mallet, and the gong of shattering, and how it dilutes the goodness inside of a being who is wearing a specific wolf mask. This makes them stronger as a result, and also makes them like less good because it shatters the good inside of them and stuff. And it also reveals later that this is a temporary effect and is supposed to be used sparingly. But that whole system, I think they just kind of like said that so that people weren't all like, well, why didn't they just keep banging the gong? Like, you know, the more you play with power, the more shifty it gets. So that was a little like not super clear, but I don't want to say clear. Like, it was a little shifty for me, but, you know, that was just what we understand about the gong as of now. So back at the Cloud Kingdom, we get the scene where Euphrasia faces off against the Wolf Warriors, and she does pretty well for herself until Cinder steps in, because he quickly overpowers her and knocks her off of the Cloud Kingdom. She does manage to save herself because, you know, Master of Wind, so she can, you know, kind of soften her fall. But this is the scene that we led off with at the start of this episode. Of course, her first thing is that she goes and warns the ninja, who are immediately like, oh crap, so they head off to the Cloud Kingdom to see what's going on. They find the captured leader and several of the acolytes being forced to prescribe something that is referred to as an evil language, and Roz has been the one to curse the bookworms into attacking everybody. So we're then introduced to the idea of the Forbidden Five, which kind of gives me like a Sons of Garmadon-esque scenario where these locked away beings are attempting to be revived by this crazy bad guy. So a fight ends up breaking out, and Lloyd once again starts having panic attacks due to the visions he's been receiving, and we get our first Kai versus Cinder face-off.
You know I thrashed the last one, right? You know I thrashed the last one, right?
I don't know if thrashed is the right word, Kai, but because we love you, and because you did end up getting the Jade Blade, and because contrary to my original prediction, you actually handled Cinder pretty easily, I'm gonna give it a pass. However, the tides start to turn when Roz begins banging the gong, and this causes all of the Wolf Warriors to power up, and Cinder does as well, who easily takes on anyone who comes his way after this. Lloyd was kind of the only one who was able to stand up to him for a moment, but again, he's not really mentally at his best here, and he wasn't winning, and Wildfire ends up getting injured pretty badly, which forces the team to retreat with a really big L. I thought that decision was pretty great, because sometimes, like, there's all this build-up, and then they fight, and then they lose, and then they quickly, like, come back. No, they start out with a pretty big loss, and this is good because it sets up their whole journey in the next few episodes, which I think is fantastically done, and I'll get into that later. Really enjoyed this episode, like I said, led off strongly from the first one, and it had the right amount of development and action, again, in my opinion. It leaves the ninja in a place where they have to find a way to stand up to the Shattersman and stop the Blood Moon ritual from occurring, but also, like, you know, it gives us good fights, and it just leads off really well from the first one. So, great episode. Really strong start from the season. Like I said, here are some raw reactions that I thought you guys would enjoy. Oh, sorry, the monastery is so freaking pretty. It does seem like Kai is gonna get some cool new power-ups this season, though, from like the summaries that I've read. So maybe he'll be the one to end up facing Cinder one-on-one. Yeah, could be full circle. That'd be great. Oh my god, why are they being so extra? Y'all being extra AF with those flips, come on. Just, like, jump over it like a normal person. Sorry, that looks kind of like a lamp, and I got a little bit excited. Oh. Oh, Euphrasia's hair! Oh my gosh, wow. We haven't seen that before, have we? She's pretty. Yes, queen, eat. Yeah. Oh, she's eating them up. Ooh, except him. Well, luckily she can fly, so that's kind of nice. But yeah, he whooped her. That's not good. Cinder and Ash have a very similar fighting style. Cinder's just seems to be much more powerful. So, yeah. Oh, Lloyd. Oh, honey. Yeah, he's gonna be seriously, he's gonna start having panic attacks. No, you didn't, honey. Don't be. Oh, you're winning. You're kind of eating. Kai, you ate him up. Good job. Ooh, ooh. Oh, Cinder, you hurt Zane. I can't stand you anymore. Jeez. Yeah. Okay, so it seems like Roz is using the gong to give them extra powers, because without them, I'm not gonna lie, Kai kind of like was handling him, so was handling Cinder. But yeah, so definitely they need to figure out a way to counter the shatter spin, because otherwise they're screwed, because Cinder literally just decked all of them. So interested to see how they're gonna do that. Because of their latest defeat, the ninja now have to search for a way to counter the shatter spin. The opening is really just Cinder breaking faces, which was kind of lame, and we kind of get the start of his little rivalry with Jordana. Typical villain henchman moment. Wasn't particularly invested, if I'm going to be completely honest, but I have no problems with it. It was kind of like a brain versus brawn, because Cinder obviously is way more powerful, but Jordana's more of like the techie knowledge about magic, kind of like doing those hard ritual tasks for Roz, keeping track of people. So yeah, brain versus brawn. But I'm probably not going to talk about it too much, just because it doesn't come up as often as you'd think, and it also, honestly, I just wasn't super invested in it. Meanwhile, the ninja are talking about how there must be a way to take down the Forbidden Five, because they have been locked away for centuries now. Lloyd is meditating on his dreams, which I think is great, because since they're visions in some way, shape, or form, there's a strong possibility that the answer to defeating the shatter spin would be hidden in the vision. That's usually how it goes. He does kind of start having a panic attack dash meltdown, but a bunch of like tiny dragons fly at him. They look like little lights, and they start encircling him and eventually send him into another vision-like moment. This was teased in the trailer, so at first I was like, what the heck? But then like once it all came together, I was like, hey, okay, we've seen this. We get a conversation between the source dragons, and Lloyd kind of just is like standing there listening. And the one that he connected to stands up for him against like the strength dragon, because it like I think he's the energy dragon that Lloyd connected with, and he's like, no, I this guy's the real deal. And they eventually agree, like them and the source dragon eventually agree that they should give him a little bit of like a boost when it comes to starting on the journey to countering Shatterspin. Lloyd receives a series of like mini visions, which then prompts him to embark on a much needed quest, because he sees like this door that they need to go through, and he's like, oh, okay, let's try to find it. Of course, with Wildfire's injury, she is not very happy when Kai tells her that she has to sit out of this adventure, but of course, this doesn't end up working out. I love the dynamic between these two, by the way. Wildfire, I'm just gonna be honest, she isn't my favorite of the three new kids. I'll talk about this during the character discussion, because I haven't covered season 1, but her relationship with Kai and the development he got in season 1 due to his interactions with her was absolutely amazing. So, just gonna put that out there. Nia kind of is the one who ends up comforting Lloyd throughout this season when he gets these panic attacks and the visions, which is queen behavior, by the way. I love that. Even though she wasn't the main focus of this season, I thought Nia was awesome. She had a lot of really, really great moments, and I'm going to cover a lot of those later. Of course, Wildfire has ended up sneaking onto the ship, and Kai is not happy about it, but regardless, now they're stuck with her because they have arrived at their destination. We go through a series of trials to find these new masters to help them, and they use their gadgets to climb up into this, like, cavern, because they can't use that, like they see that all these ships are crashed and they're like, okay, yeah, we are not taking the bounty up there because once again, spoiler alert, it gets destroyed. But you know, been there, done that. They do end up getting to the top successfully, but as they walked through the cave, like they're in the second part, everything just goes completely dark and they start seeing visions of their worst fears. Think like the Boggarts from Harry Potter, or those scenes where a character sees their worst fear happening in front of them and have to like break out of it to move on. We've seen this in My Little Pony. We've even seen this in prior episodes of Ninjago to an extent. So this was really interesting. I really wish we saw more than just Eren, Sora, Lloyd, and Nia, because I would have liked to see Kai's as well. But this was a really, really great sequence, in my opinion. Nia is the one who ends up breaking out of her vision first, because her whole thing was like Jay, she finds Jay and he's like, I have no idea who you are. Like, get away from me. And she's like, okay, excuse me, clearly this is not real because my Jay knows exactly who I am, which is queen behavior. I was so proud of her. Like, love Nia this season. She, as a result, breaks out and ends up saving everyone else, as she should. And I hope this shuts down anything about her cheating on Jay with Cole or Lloyd, because I know people were like, oh, like Nia and Lloyd are holding hands in the trailer, or ooh, like she was like holding hands with Cole during Land of Lost Things or something like that. And I was like, okay, guys, really? Really? Oh dear. But I am a little bit like antsy about that scene though, because even though she broke out of that as she should, and she's right, Jay this season, we'll talk about him later, but unfortunately I do think her fear might end up coming true in some way, shape, or form. So that does make me a little bit antsy. But the ninja eventually make it out into this clearing and are hesitant to go into the fog because there's this like huge cloud of fog beneath a cliff. So they're like, ooh, do we jump into said fog? But Kai is just like, okay, yeet, I'm just gonna go. And he ends up being fine. So the ninja are like, okay, bet. So they all jump in and they're fine. But then they come face to face with a very ferocious dragon right as they reach their destination. Overall, again, I loved this episode. There were a lot of really, really great interactions between the team. The plot is moving along very, very, very nicely throughout this entire process. Such a strong start to this season. I'm really, really loving it so far. Honestly, I don't have, like, other than the little nitpicky stuff that I have said throughout my discussion, I don't really have, like, any huge issues with it at all. So here are some raw reactions that I had. Oh, Kai, honey. I do have a feeling that Kai's gonna be the one to end up going 1v1 with Cinder. From what I've read and from what we're seeing, that looks... So, Kai fans, you better be hyped. Is this part of... Oh. Ah, okay, yeah, we've seen this. Okay. I think they heard you. Sorry, I know that Zane and Cole have a side plot in this, and I'm so excited. So it's Brains versus Brawn. Oh, are they gonna fight? Y'all really want to fight over Roz? He's not all that. He's smart, but it's not really, like, whatever. Oh, they're Brain versus Brawn. They're gonna fight. Y'all, cause Cinder, you were the one whooping everyone. Don't. Yeah, I would have been like, honey, I could tear you to shreds. You better shut the F up. But the truth is, they also need her because otherwise, they're gonna have some rivalry, and I feel like that's gonna end up, because villains are insecure AF, and when somebody like outshines them, they're not going to be super happy. Aww. I know some people ship them, but I like them better as besties. That's just me. They're more like brother and sister to me. I don't think so. Oh, it's his parents. Oh, okay. This is to see if they're like strong enough. Oh, so it's like visions of their worst fears and stuff. Okay, yeah. Yep, they're gonna see visions of their worst fears and just feel like crap. Yeah, Nia ate. Nia, you ate. You're the first one that figured out. Yeah, because she was like, sweetie, my Jay knows exactly who I am, so, Thank you to those who are freaking out over her, like, holding hands with Cole and holding hands with Lloyd. Jay is the love of her life, Jay of forever. So, the first frame of this episode had Cole and the Finders. So, being that Cole is my favorite ninja, if y'all haven't seen my videos before, I'm saying it right now, Cole is my favorite. So of course I was immediately super hyped because I knew that Cole and Zane would be having a side plot this season because of like some of the moments in the trailer and like some of the news that came out before the season was released. I'm just gonna let my reaction to the beginning of this episode speak for itself. Oh my gosh. Sorry, Before I go any farther, I just want to say everyone is entitled to their own opinion about the whole Geo and Cole thing. Like, some people think it's platonic, some people think it's something more. All of that is cool. Interpret it as you will. I just ask that we please respect each other's opinions regarding this relationship in my comment section. But I will say, if I see any remote homophobia, even the slightest bit in my comment section, I will block you from this channel and your comment will be deleted. There is no room for any of that crap on my channel. I will not be discussing it with anyone. So if your comment gets deleted, you know why. None of it will be tolerated. That is your first and only warning. And don't bother commenting because you're just wasting your time and you're wasting my time and you're just projecting negative energy that is completely unnecessary. Okay, with that out of the way, this episode was so engaging all around. I'll start with the first main plot because there are kind of two plots. We're following the ninja team and then we're following like Cole, the Finders, and Geo. So we start out back in the land of lost things and they are almost immediately attacked by the Wolf Clan. They do end up holding their own, but they're just way too outnumbered, and Bonsal ends up getting captured. Luckily, Cole kind of arrives in the nick of time, and he manages to free Bonsal, and they make this, like, huge earth turtle shell around the remains of the rookery. Bonsal does seem to realize what's going on, but she claims that she doesn't, so Geo and Cole kind of, like, scramble to figure things out. They do manage to secure the defense, but Roz uses the gong and the mallet to give the Wolf Clan strength again. So they begin to tear through the big rock shell that Cole's made. However, Cole realizes, like, oh, shoot. Sorry, I burped. He's like, oh, here's the portal gate that Nia was telling me about. This was a little, like, thrown together and random, but hey, it works. And Bonsal kind of gives them the hint, like, yeah, I think we're gonna be able to leave the Land of Lost Things now. So at the end of the day, like, that was the only option they had. So let's go. Geo fuses the portal together and they arrive at the monastery, accidentally knocking poor Mr. Frohickey out. But Zane and Cole have a quick little reunion, which of course you can guess had me extremely pumped because those two have always been my favorite ninja. However, the Wolf Warriors do end up following them through the gate, so we do get a little bit of a cliffhanger in that sense. But the other side of this episode focuses on the main team who are facing off against the dragon that they encountered at the beginning or at the end of last episode. They eventually figure out that they need to fill this bucket that's attached to the huge doors that Lloyd had seen in his vision to open it. And Aaron struggles a lot throughout this fight, which kind of like re-solidifies his arc of feeling like he's not improving enough and thus being discouraged. Understandably, by the way. They do end up getting the door opened, which reveals a second dragon, but this dragon kind of like congratulates them and is like, oh, you guys did a great job. You passed all 3 of our tests. And they're like, what the heck? And it's like, okay, yeah, but you faced like those trials of fear when you were dealing with all those visions and stuff, the trial of faith, getting through the fall, and teamwork, of course, which are all valuable lessons that have been presented in this show, though I'm not gonna lie, when it comes to the fear factor, Nia totally bailed them out. But that, I guess, circles back to teamwork, so no hate. Lloyd then kind of brings up, like, oh, we're expecting a teacher. Do you know where they are? Lloyd, honey, I think you're a little bit slow this season. He's just a little slow. Like, we love Lloyd. I know some people hate Lloyd, but I love Lloyd, so when I say we, I'm talking about myself. But yeah, I love him, but boy is a little bit slow, and the male dragon kind of just completely roasts him, which I thought was hilarious. Clearly, they are the teachers, and we learn that their names are Rontu and Egalt. Lloyd kind of tries to explain the whole, like, situation that's been happening, but the dragons remain skeptical, especially Egalt, because he hates humans. Like, he's like, ew, no, I love Egalt, by the way, but however, they kind of figure out that Lloyd is not lying and that he's clearly very, like, frantic about this situation. They're like, okay, we'll hear you out. We find out that they were the two that banished the Forbidden Five, which was predicted. Like, if you saw the preview clips and stuff, it's pretty predictable, but great. And they took care of the Forbidden Five with a technique called Rising Dragon, and combined that with an extremely powerful spell that sealed them away. But they then realized that the banishment is about to be undone because of the Blood Moon ritual, and that they're able to get to the temple, or Roz and Jordana were able to get to the temple because of the bit of Source Dragon energy that Jordana extracted from the Source Dragon that had been captured in Imperium. Though Egalt and Rontu, they're kind of like, we're too old, like, we were young back then, we can't really fight anymore. They do end up being, if begrudgingly, willing to train the ninja in hopes of giving them the edge. So overall thoughts, though, this episode is amazing. I love both sides of the story, the ninja figuring out what their next steps are going to be, Colt coming back to the Finders, and eventually reuniting with Zane. Definitely my favorite episode so far, and it's a perfect cutoff and transition from the beginning of the season to mid-season, because we're at episode 4 now. We know which stories we're going to be following for the rest of the season. We also get our first glimpse at Bonsal and how she'll be much more important this season than she was in season 1. And here are some of my raw reactions of this episode. If any of you hurt Geo, I am going to attack you. I will jump through the screen and destroy everybody with my powers of imagination. But this, I think the dragons speak, some of them at least speak English, so I think, or at least Ninjagian, whatever language they're speaking. Ninjagian, I don't think that's the language. I don't know which language it is, but I actually love that Wildfire is riding Ryu. Like, I feel like that's a good place for her. That other dragon is like, ew, humans. Rontu and Egalt. Oh, I missed their names because I got distracted. I am invested in this episode. Oh no, you do not go after Cole's friend. He's letting the babies fight. Cole, honey, you're gonna need to show up, like, now. That's my baby, oh my god. That's right. I'm gonna cry. Okay, stop. Well, that was definitely my favorite episode so far because Cole and Zane, my two faves. Okay, I sound really squealy right now, but on to the next. I loved that episode a lot. So I'm gonna just reiterate what I said. Basically, I thought the beginning of the season was so engaging and so well done. Obviously, you've heard some of my nitpicking throughout the commentary, but this was an incredibly strong start to the second season of this series. The pacing was great, the plot was very interesting and engaging all around, and built off of, like, what we already have learned in season 1. And I think a lot of the characters are being set up very well for the continuation of the series. We'll see if that, develops well or not, but I really loved the development of characters like Bonsal, who clearly does have a bigger role this season, and then Lloyd and Aaron having their kind of, like, anxiety arc and struggling to get stronger arc. If you have any thoughts about the first 4 episodes of this season, please drop them in the comments because I will be continuing my discussion about Dragons Rising Season 2, Part 1, in Part 2 of this talk. So that's Part 1 out of 3 of what I have for you all, and I will see you next episode. Bye!